Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to celebrate 80 years of Catwoman. Guys, I've got all this stuff here that I've got from Catwoman. I actually brought all of Catwoman's friends. I just above the Brubaker #1 Catwoman issue from cover date January 2002. You see, I put up some. So I brought Selina some friends of hers that she can enjoy the company of. I mean, she's going to have a little bit of a party here as we celebrate all things Selina Kyle. Guys, I love Catwoman. I've got a lot of Catwoman comic books. I don't know how many, of course. I've never actually counted them, but I do believe I've got. I don't know. I don't have the silver, or I do not have the golden age appearances of Catwoman, but I do have the first silver age appearance of Catwoman here in Lois Lane, Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, issue 70, and of course she's in that purple outfit. Catwoman herself was created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane, same people who created Batman, and she appeared obviously in American comic books, commonly. Of course, in her original debut, she was known as the Cat, and that was in Batman #1 in the spring of 1940. Her real name back then was Selina Kyle, and of course, it still is. She is, of course, known for having the most enduring love interest with Batman, and always having sort of a love-dislike/hate relationship with him. Not a big surprise. Interestingly enough, in September of 1954, after the advent of the Comics Code Authority, you never heard of Catwoman. She kind of disappeared off the scene, primarily because the Comics Code Authority, it sort of banned crime comics, and you couldn't really portray crime in any detail, and of course, you couldn't be particularly sexual or provocative in comic books, and so that pretty much eliminated Catwoman, Selina Kyle, off the radar in Batman comic books, until finally in November of 1966, she finally made an appearance, and that was in that issue right there with Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, issue 70. So I'm glad I at least have that. I don't have any of the Golden Age appearances, as I've said. Now, there's only ever been two other people that have assumed the identity of Catwoman, and that was Holly Robinson, who was her best friend. Presently, Holly Robinson is her best friend in DC continuity, and the other person who assumed the Catwoman identity was Iko Hasegawa, and that was in the series written right here. That was in this series, written by Valentine Brown and drawn by I think that's Jay Lee. And in any event, this was a great series. In fact, this was the series where, of course, Selina actually explores her relationship with a woman. Actually has a relationship with Iko or however you say it. And so yeah, we've had many different incarnations. Now we have Catwoman has been in many forms of media, obviously TV, movies. She's been played by actresses Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, Eartha Kitt, Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, and Halle Berry in 2004's Catwoman. And Anne Hathaway played Selina Kyle in the 2012 film Dark Knight Rises. And a young version of Selina Kyle was played by Cameron Bekandova in the 2014 television series Gotham. And also Lily Simmons portrayed an older Selina Kyle in that series finale. And apparently Zoe Kravitz will portray Selina Kyle in the 2021 film The Batman, who will be portrayed by the Twilight guy, whatever his name is. I can't remember, unimportant. But in any event, Catwoman was ranked 111th on IGN's list of the top 100 comic book villains of all time. So, having said that, look at all these comic books. I want to go through this here. Some of the things that I want to show as we go along here. I just want to show a lot of the key issues here. Had some fun putting this stuff together. I got a lot of hero clicks. I love this vehicle from the Bombshells. I only bought one vehicle from the Bombshells, and that was, of course, the Selina Kyle vehicle, because it's the most gorgeous. Sorry for the reflection here, but Love these key issues. There's one by Ethan Van Sciver, Trail of the Gun. The art there is fantastic. The level of detail on the art. We've got the Gotham Girls series. That's issue 1 with Catwoman on the cover. At the time that Gotham Girls came out, Catwoman was the most popular character. But now, of course, it's actually Harley Quinn. And even Poison Ivy is getting up there. We see some other statues here, which are quite good. I love those statues. Or these little, I guess these, I don't know what you call them. They're not statues, little maquettes or whatever the case might be. And this is one of my favorite statues of the animated Catwoman. Great stuff, great stuff. And we got the Gotham Girls all together there, and they're having, I'd like to think they're having a pillow fight, just like in this cover of Harley Quinn issue 3. All 3 of them there are together. They're having a little fun. And of course, we've got the classic cover there of Catwoman number 18. Selina Kyle getting married or wearing a wedding dress. The next time we would see Selina Kyle in a wedding dress, it would be, of course, that would be this one right here. And that's Batman 50. Unfortunately, we all know that wedding never took place. And, well, we all know about Tom King's run. But let me tell you, let's actually move backwards. Let's start with, I want to try to cover all of Catwoman's appearances in comic books, going back on their last 4 or 5 series. And this should be kind of fun, I think, anyway. We're going to try it. And, because it is worth noting that Catwoman had a very interesting run with Tom King. And we're just going to start with that. It actually started with Rooftops. And it was it's a nice cover there. And that's where Selina and Bruce, Batman, got together. It was actually a very well done. One thing about Tom King's handling of Catwoman is Tom King had an absolute obsession with Catwoman. Catwoman always beat Batman. She always saved Batman. I mean, Catwoman took out the Flashes. She took out Talia Al Ghul. She took out the Joker. She took out everyone. And while Batman remained relatively incompetent. And of course, this issue 24 is when Batman proposed to her. And in the second printing of this one, he actually says to her on the second printing cover, "Will you marry me?" Of course, she also, as I said, she took out Talia Al Ghul in a wonderful little cat fight, which I think is hilarious. I'm just going to set up the camera here to be a little bit more precise. There we go. Then how can we forget? We can't forget Date Night. Remember Date Night there? Issue 43 has Selina taking out Poison Ivy. And of course, this is all because Batman can't do any of this. Issue 44, Selina Kyle robs a place to get a wedding dress. And this is issue 46. This is a nice variant cover. 49 is when she takes out the Joker. And again, this is something that Catwoman just does. And during Tom King's run, she was very, very, very powerful. I'll take those down now. The next one was Catwoman had a bachelorette party with Lois Lane in issue 68. And that was beautifully drawn, by the way. That was fantastically drawn by Amanda Conner. I love that cover. I love Amanda Conner. Great stuff. And the only thing that sort of where Tom King sort of missed the boat, or I thought, was the bachelorette party was with Lois Lane, whereas there should have been, of course, there should have been Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn there as well. I think just to add a little, add a little sexiness to it. Some great covers with Tony Daniel drawing it. Selina Kyle again, beautiful. 79, 80. That's even a good cover by John Romita Jr. You don't hear me saying that too often, but that's actually that's probably his best drawn Catwoman in a long time. And of course, we had the Batman 50, the wedding issue. There's all kinds of variant covers of that, but I won't show all of them. Now, the series prior to, that's the Batman series. The current series of Catwoman Current series of Catwoman is what? Obviously by Joelle Jones. It just finished up. This is, of course, the blank cover. And this is the cover of Joelle Jones' Catwoman series. This, of course, we all know the story. The wedding never took place. She ends up going to a place called Valamusa or Halamusa, or I can't remember what. Anyways, underwhelmingly written series, not that great, but beautifully drawn. The covers are always great. And some of these variant covers, just look at them. They're fantastic. I'm just going to put them up there, and you can just stare and like, wow. You want to steal some of that? Check that out. That's awesome. Beautiful stuff. This one by Ben Oliver. I mean, these are really good covers. Just, you know, the series by Joelle Jones, she's in Valhamusa, I believe it was, and the villain she had was it was 21 issues long, the series, and unfortunately it just fell flat and it never really worked. But we did end up with some beautiful covers in it, out of it at least. This Michelle Pfeiffer cover is fantastic. I actually ended up getting two of this one because I really like this one. This is the classic style of Catwoman. That is the same style of Catwoman, essentially the same costume that she wore in the Golden Age, or even in her first Silver Age appearance, which is, of course, this one right here, just to get a better look at that. In case those of you who are wondering, this issue here of Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, issue 70. It's in a condition of a 5, maybe 5.5. It's not in the greatest of condition, but it's better than. I'm quite happy with it. It was. I found it was hard to get for a decent price, but I managed to get that copy for $45. And yeah, so we ended up with another costume, a strange-looking costume with Catwoman by issue 18 by Joelle Jones. Not bad. Overall, the series was a miss, but we had some decent art. So, you'll find that when it comes to Catwoman's comic book series, for the most part, the series are often underwhelming. Like, the stories can be forgettable, but occasionally there's some really good ones. One issue cover that stands out is this one here. This is the Tweety Bird, Catwoman, and Tweety and Sylvester #1. This one, this was during that whole Looney Tune crossover. I kind of like the way that looked. That looks pretty good. All right. Now, prior to that, then, we have... there is Catwoman's main series where she had a lot of Adam Hughes covers. After that one was the New 52. That was actually this one here. Series written by Valentine. I can't remember her first name. But in any event, this was actually one of the better written stories. Not only were the covers fantastic, and I got them signed by the cover artists. The covers were fantastic here, and the series was really good. This is where Selina Kyle gets involved with the mafia, and in fact becomes a mob, sort of like a godmother, a mafia boss. And it was extremely well written, very well done, and she even had a relationship with a new character called Aiko, who ends up becoming Catwoman for a brief period of time. It was a very well done series, and it was unfortunately it was short-lived, due of course to the fact that all of the New 52 was essentially a short-lived series. Now, I'm not going to belabor that point. I'll just leave that back there. I'm now going to focus on Gotham City Sirens is what I'm going to do. Now, Gotham City Sirens was a series that, Gotham City Sirens was a series that prior to the New 52, I might be mixing up my timeline here. It's not a New 52 series, but it was a series that was rushed, and it was, for the most part, it was written by, most of the issues were written by Paul Dini. It started off being written by Paul Dini and ended up being written by a guy by the name of Peter Calloway. And in any event, it was a rush series. It wasn't well done insofar as it never made any sense for Selina Kyle to team up with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy because they weren't really friends, but it was sort of a forced relationship, because even at that time, Catwoman was already a hero, more of a hero. And I mean more of a hero, not an anti-hero, but an actual hero. But it was revealed that she befriended them at the behest of Batman. And in any event, it had some decent storylines, but I thought the best storylines actually involved Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, less so Catwoman herself. But there were some really good covers for Catwoman, and I just want to show those covers first, because hell, just a minute here. Okay, this one's covered issue 25. This is again by William March. These are some gorgeous covers. I mean, look at that. This one here with Talia Al Ghul. Talia Al Ghul and Selina Kyle always have sort of a precarious relationship. Talia, of course, will never like Selina Kyle because Selina Kyle has her man, and she can never seem to attract Batman the same way that Selina Kyle does. Some gorgeous covers here again by William March. Just gorgeous. I mean, check that out. Really great stuff. The Gotham City Siren series is fantastic. I'm just showing the covers that have a Catwoman on them, but some really nice ones. It's issue 10. I mean, a lot of creativity. This series, another series where the art is just so fantastic on the cover, and I have to say that the story, I've been very hard on the storytelling for it. It's still better than any of the storytelling that's currently going on at DC, but it is what it is. But I mean, look at some of this art. I mean, just really great stuff. And yeah, they even had Gotham City Sirens even had a symbol at one point. And how many people remember that particular symbol? I doubt many do. And then, of course, this is the final issue. And, you know, it's funny because Gotham City Sirens is a series that, for the most part, I think a lot of people have forgotten about, but it's got a second life now on Key Collector app. I think a lot of people are sort of saying, hey, we should go check this series out, and that's exactly what they're doing. Just a couple of stragglers right now I want to show. This one is Adventures in the DC Universe. Was the only, out of that entire series of Adventures in the DC Universe, I got it all. This was the only one that I could find that had Catwoman on the cover, I believe. But if I'm wrong about that, one of you guys can correct me. But she teams up with Wonder Woman. This is, Catwoman does appear occasionally. Frank Shaw loves drawing beautiful women, and he draws Catwoman with Harley Quinn once in a while. And this is Harley Quinn issue 61. That's a really nice one with them two. I should show this random one as well. Batman Detective Comics issue 624. It's time for Catwoman's Revenge. This is a rare one. That's actually drawn by Dick Sprang, which is a Golden Age classic artist that used to routinely draw Batman. And yeah, so I was lucky to acquire that actually right off the rack back in the day, so I got lucky on that one. Another random one here. Another random one with Frank Cho. Harley Quinn issue 62. We're almost owed Harley, then the dragon's treasure is all yours. And of course, naturally, the dragon is right there. Great cover again. These are just, you know, great covers. Great covers overall. Here's the first issue of Gotham City Sirens. Again, these are all great comics. The Bombshell variants came out a while back during the New 52, and they're always great for, I mean, I've got all the Bombshell variants. They're beautiful. You line them all up in a row. I think I even showed them I did a video a while back, showed them all on Twitter, on a Twitter video. Great stuff. Beautiful stuff to show off. I got this signed by Jimmy Palmiotti, Catwoman issue 27. Again, I've got all these series, but I'm just showing individual ones that I like the covers on. This one I got signed by Cameron Stewart, written by Edward Brubaker. This is Catwoman issue 21. I actually do have I do have, of course, the first issue of that series in the CGC graded in the back there. One thing about Cameron, what I love about Cameron Stewart, I love the guy so much that I actually got him to, I'm going to show you some pictures that I got of him from the Calgary Comic-Con. And this was drawn for me by Cameron Stewart in 2008 at the Calgary Expo. And just fantastic, beautiful. And he also drew me another one. And for those of you who are curious about how an artist changes his style over a certain period of time, that was Cameron Stewart's style in 2008. In 2011, 3 years later, at the same Calgary Expo, he draws me this. He drew me this for a Catwoman, and his style had changed. And I found that very interesting. And I think that he was trying... Cameron Stewart initially had more of a Darwin Cook kind of style, and I actually prefer that style. But he evolved it, and he evolved into his own style, as you saw here in 2011. You can see the different styles there, how they really sort of stand out. But it's just beautiful. I love getting head sketches of Catwoman. I've got more than a few. I got some more in storage as well. But I love this stuff, and I'm gonna probably just let that sit back there, because there's some really, really great stuff, and I love this stuff. This is what it's all about, people. Great art. All right, so now I'm gonna show some more here. Gotham City Garage was a series where I think it was. I know it was only 12 issues long. I got all 12 of the issues. The Selina Kyle in Gotham City Garage, in the universe that this story takes place in, she was really a great hero. She sacrificed her life in that series. It was a fantastic series. She was an awesome heroic woman. She had a cool tattoo. She drove an awesome motorbike, and this was the only cover on issue 4 of that series where she was on, and she has, I believe that is the Gotham City Garage universe Nightwing on the back of her bike. But in any event, a great series. There is another series called, on DC Bombshells, going back to Bombshells, Selina Kyle in Bombshells is only on a handful of covers for DC Bombshells, but I wanted to show what those covers were, and this is one of them. This is another one. That was in issue 17. This is issue 10. And that's Selina Kyle there. Selina Kyle is the only clue that you get that she's a cat or that she's a Catwoman is in she's got a bead in her hair that is shaped like a cat. And there's the DC Bombshell issues. The entire universe obviously is premised on the fact that all the women are the heroes. And they're often lesbians. And in this case, for Batwoman is the key hero in the Bombshells universe. Batwoman with Wonder Woman, and Batwoman has a number of different relationships. One with Maggie Sauer, and one with and there's hints of a relationship with Selina Kyle, as this variant cover suggests. Here's another Bombshell variant. There was another series called, I'm going to go now to another series called Celebrating Catwoman. This series was called Batman Strikes. And this is the issues where Catwoman appeared on the cover in the Batman Strikes universe. That's issue 6. This is issue 13. This is issue 27. Nice try, Batman, but it looks like you lose. Yeah, certainly does. This is issue 30 of Batman Strikes. The chase is on. And if it's one thing that Batman and Catwoman are very good at, it's chasing each other. And then, of course, we have issue 45. And that is essentially it for the Batman Strikes. Now, there was one issue of I don't even know how to say it. Aimcomi girls, or where Catwoman is actually on the cover. It just shows her face. And there's another issue I have where it just shows her face as well. So I'm trying to cover all those bases there. And in the meantime, of course, we have Catwoman. We got the famous Jim Ballant series. It was by Joe Duffy, Jim Ballant, and Dick Giordano. And that was a classic series. And with that series, of course, we had the issue where up there where Catwoman has that famous wedding issue where she wears that wedding dress. And I guess I could probably take that down and put that down there for now. That was that's definitely one of the more classic covers for Catwoman. I'll just I'll take this and put it back up here. And and one other one from Batman Strikes was issue 24 with the headshot of Selina Kyle. That one's quite big as well. And I do want to give a shout out to, of course, probably the most famous cover artist for Catwoman is Adam Hughes. And Adam Hughes, of course, is it's really not a Catwoman celebration without celebrating Adam Hughes. I do want to give some recognition to this series. Ann Nocenti and Ethan Van Sciver, of course, did Batman and Catwoman Trail of the Gun. I got that signed by Ethan Van Sciver in 2008. I got the first issue. I'm just showing the one. This of course, is Gotham Girls. And I'm showing that as well. And now I want to do a quick run through of some of the many issues that have amazing covers. Have amazing covers for Catwoman. Catwoman's primary run from originally written by Ed Brubaker, and eventually it was taken over by Will Pfeiffer, but gorgeous covers by Adam Hughes. So many, it's hard to know exactly where to begin, but one does choose to begin somewhere because it is a sheer joy to show some of these issues. Absolutely amazing issues. I'm just going to help myself here to them to make it a little bit easier to show. And that's issue 64. So here we go. All right, that's issue 13. I got those signed by Cameron Stewart. 15. I mean, great covers of Catwoman. These are just great. Again, it's not every single one. I've sort of picked and chose which ones I liked, and these are classic covers for that series. Ed Brubaker, Davis, and Cameron Stewart. Amazing work. I mean, some of this art is just fantastic. This series, man, stands out. Anybody who was anybody wanted this, was reading this series. It was that good. It was well worth it. The storytelling is just superb. I remember starting with issue 43. I actually got 2 issues of each one, starting with issue 43, because it was just insane. I love the art on all this stuff. In fact, I just need to show 1 issue, but I did have 2 from this point on, because the art was just that. It was just that good. And continuing on, issue 44. I mean, look at these issues. I mean, look at that. I mean, believe it or not, these things actually had... The stories in here weren't even that bad. Will Pfeiffer told the story of Catwoman had a baby. In fact, one of the storylines that has never been pursued and was likely, I believe, abandoned once well, I guess once the new 52 hit is that Catwoman actually had a child, but it wasn't Bruce Wayne's child. Catwoman had a relationship with someone other than Batman and actually got pregnant, had the child, and Bruce Wayne helped her give up that child. And it was in a storyline written by Will Pfeiffer, and it was very an emotional storyline because Catwoman had to gave up her child to a couple at the end, and one would always wonder what's going to happen with that child that was born. It was I can't even remember now if it was a boy or a girl, to be honest with you, but it was quite the storyline, and it was actually pretty good. Now, again, look at some of these. Look at some of this art. I mean, this is good stuff. This is really, the art here is just fantastic. You gotta love Adam Hughes. All right, we'll just keep going through here. I got doubles all this stuff, but I mean, this is really, really good stuff. For some reason I got 3 of the Zatanna one here. Gorgeous covers. I remember back in the day, the reason why I kept buying so many copies of this, I bought these right off the rack because nobody was buying them and I couldn't figure out why. So why wouldn't nobody want to buy doubles of these? Because these issues were absolutely gorgeous. And I mean, you can just tell, I mean, look at some of this art. I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, it's really, really great stuff. And this one here, I got 3 of this one as well. I got one there. I got this same issue behind here. And I got one in another display box of my, of a bombshell variant box. Anyways, great stuff. That has to do with the Lost. That's the Lost number from that series Lost. That was the code. That was the number that you typed in that number and that reset the Doomsday device or clock on that Lost series. In any event, look at the detail. I mean, typical Adam Hughes, great stuff. Just absolutely gorgeous stuff. This is, Harley as Catwoman. This was, began an arc where Holly Robinson tried being Catwoman for a while, if I remember correctly. And, again, just really, really good stuff. And trying to go through all this here. This is stuff that really, really stands out. I mean, look at that, huh? Look at that. Really stands out. Gorgeous stuff. Gorgeous stuff. There we go. Yeah, this is Catwoman as a mother. You know, Selina as a mother, she wasn't a bad mother, but you know, it was one of those things where it's hard to be an anti-hero and nurture that maternal instinct. Okay. Anything with Zatanna, just look, let's be blunt. Zatanna and Adam Hughes, that's a good combination. That goes together like Scotch and On the Rocks. You know what I'm saying? It's good stuff. Okay. Yeah, again, just 2 issues of all this stuff. Why? Because I can and because I'm smart. Okay, so here we go. All right. This, yeah. You gotta love Catwoman, gentlemen. You gotta love Catwoman. Okay. There you go. I mean, the level of detail that Adam Hughes puts into his covers. Here's one where I believe this is the one where she gave up her child, issue 62. Really, really touching stuff. At some point, we're going to be approaching the end of the Catwoman series here, and it has an interesting little ending. And I'm gonna just clear those off. 65, 66, 67, 68. I mean, she battles these two Russian villains while she's trying to be a mother and has a pretty hard time of it. This is one of my favorite covers. I love this. I actually use this bottom part here on some of my videos where I'm in the background and I crop the bottom part there because it's I just love it so much. This here is one of my favorite. Adam Hughes gave Selina Kyle often an Audrey Hepburn kind of look, and she looks absolutely gorgeous there. And more Audrey Hepburn look, gorgeous. And again, once again, bringing Satana onto the scene. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And more Zatanna. That's 73. And I know I got 74 somewhere. I already showed it. 75. 76. And 77. I mean, love that cover. I mean, look at that. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. This is great, beautiful stuff. 78. I mean, actually fighting the cheetah. I mean, look at that. Look at the detail. Holy moly. I mean, look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. 80. 81. 82. For some reason, I got 3 of 82. I don't really know why, but I like it. And then the series end. That was the final issue. And then when Blackest Night came out, Adam Hughes came back and they gave Catwoman an additional issue 83. And that ultimately ended the series. And here are... And that really was the end for that. Now... I'll show you a couple other issues here for the issue of Valentine and Brown. Some of the other issues, gorgeous covers here. This was for a subsequent series during the New 52. But gorgeous art. I got these all signed by the cover artists. Gorgeous. At the Calgary Expo again. And I do have the extra... I actually do have Ethan Van Sciver's very first... the cover issue for the first issue of Batman and Catwoman Trail of the Gun. And, well, of course, we got some random Jim Ballant covers. And Catwoman Annual number 3 back in the day. And Elseworld's Tale. A lot of great stuff. Now, I want to talk a little bit. There's that great series, that second issue of that. I'm going to put that away. Another great series here was, of course, Selina's Big Score. It was written by Darwin Cook with Matt Harlingsworth. Gorgeous series. If you have a chance to pick up this hardcover, do it. The art's fantastic in it. I mean, it's just absolutely, it's classic Darwin Cook. Gorgeous. Arguably, this is likely the best Catwoman story that's ever been written. In my mind, it's that good. It's worth focusing on. It's really that good. I want to give a shout out here to, of course, close up. It's hard to see the signature series here of Catwoman number 1. Darwin Cook. I absolutely love this. And below here, under here, I've got, wanted to show, this one. This one, I've got the Batman Gotham Adventures issue 50. It's a classic. Again, Fantastic. So many great Catwoman covers, Catwoman everything. I love me some Catwoman, and what's not to love? And yeah, guys, that's really it. I mean, I just want to stop all this out here. An overview of everything. That's what the cat is going for. But lots of goodness, people, lots of goodness. So guys, that's all I got to say. That's all I got to show. Happy 80th birthday to Catwoman. This is Comic Boom saying Comic Boom out.